Alright, let's dive into this fight between Callum Walsh and Tyler Denny, because it's a perfect example of why boxing is so much more than just throwing punches. This wasn't just a win for Walsh, it was a masterclass in resilience, strategy, and the mental game. Here's what I mean. First off, the hook. Walsh, the unbeaten Irish middleweight, faced Denny, a former European champion, in Dublin. On paper, it looked like a straightforward test for Walsh. But boxing rarely goes according to plan, does it? Personally, I think what makes this fight fascinating is how it unfolded, not as a one-sided domination, but as a gritty, back-and-forth battle that tested Walsh's limits. From my perspective, the first round was a wake-up call. Walsh got caught awkwardly, took a shot, and went down. A knockdown in the opening round? That's a moment that could rattle any fighter. But here's where Walsh's mental toughness shines. Instead of letting it define the fight, he came back in the second round with a picture-perfect left cross that dropped Denny. That's the kind of response that separates contenders from champions. What this really suggests is that Walsh isn't just physically gifted. He's got the mental fortitude to reset and refocus under pressure. Now, let's talk about Denny. What many people don't realize is how much his style complicated things for Walsh. Denny's a veteran, and he brought that awkward, scrappy energy that can frustrate even the most polished fighters. By the fourth round, Walsh was backing up, picking his shots carefully. This wasn't a fight where Walsh could just steamroll his opponent. He had to adapt, and that's where his intelligence in the ring became clear. If you take a step back and think about it, this fight was as much a test of Walsh's ring IQ as it was his physical skills. One thing that immediately stands out is the cut Walsh suffered over his left eye. It bled badly, and you could see the frustration on his face. But here's the thing, he didn't let it derail him. He kept moving, kept hitting, and kept Denny at bay. In my opinion, that's the mark of a true competitor. It's easy to look good when everything's going your way, but when you're dealing with adversity, cuts, knockdowns, a stubborn opponent, that's when you see what a fighter is really made of. What makes this really interesting is how Walsh closed out the fight. In the 10th round, he landed a massive right uppercut that didn't drop Denny but sent a clear message. He was still in control. That's the kind of statement you want to make in the late rounds, especially when you're dealing with a guy like Denny who just won't quit. It's not just about winning, it's about finishing strong and leaving no doubt in the judges' minds. After the fight, Walsh admitted it was tougher than he expected. He even speculated that Denny might have broken his orbital bone during a head clash. That kind of honesty is rare in boxing, and it's refreshing. Personally, I think it shows how much respect Walsh has for the sport and for his opponent. He didn't make excuses. He just acknowledged that it was a tough night and that he could have done better. That kind of self-awareness is rare, and it's a big part of why I think Walsh has what it takes to go all the way. If you take a step back and think about it, this fight is a microcosm of boxing as a whole. It's not just about who hits harder or who's faster. It's about adaptability, resilience, and the ability to problem-solve under pressure. Walsh showed all of that, and more. This raises a deeper question. How many fighters could have handled the kind of challenges Denny presented? Not many, in my opinion. A detail I find fascinating is how the referee deducted points from both fighters, Walsh for holding, Denny for hitting behind the head. It's a reminder that boxing isn't just about the fighters. It's about the dynamics in the ring, the referee's decisions, and how all these elements interact. What this really suggests is that even in a sport as individual as boxing, there's a bigger ecosystem at play. In the end, Walsh walked away with the unanimous decision, but this wasn't just another win. It was a statement. He proved he can handle adversity, adapt to a tricky opponent, and finish strong. From my perspective, this fight was a stepping stone to bigger things for Walsh. He's not just a contender, he's a fighter who's ready for the next level. So, here's my closing thought. Boxing is as much a mental game as it is a physical one. Walsh's win over Denny wasn't just about landing the right punches. It was about staying composed, adapting, and finding a way to prevail when things got tough. That's what makes this sport so compelling, and that's why I'll be keeping a close eye on Walsh's career. What do you think? Is Walsh the real deal, or does he still have work to do? Let me know in the comments below.